Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Paul. So, what are we going to talk about this morning?
Well, I was looking at all I guess we call them modules in Sapio, and I know a lot of our customers are spend a lot of time in the user section, but we do so much more. I was trying to figure out, is there a way I can make any relationships between the modules? I mean, sometimes when I'm in the users, I still need some other information like OneDrive or the groups or vice versa. I might be in the groups and then I need to know something specific about users in those groups. Is there any, I guess the word is interconnectivity between modules, or if not, can I make it happen?
Yep. Okay. So definitely, yes, I can see the problem. So it's true that when gathering data, and it's the same when if you do your own code, you're graphing to gathering some graph or a PowerShell using graph or PowerShell to to gather some data. Uh, The problem is that usually you have a request that's going to give you, okay, I want to have the member of this teams. And usually you give a reference to a team and it gives you a reference of a user. But then you don't know, for example, you don't know if this user is in this department, in this country, is effectively has the license, what kind of license he has, when is the last time he's connected, etc., etc. All this information you want to see to be able to take a proper decision looking at your teams and to be able to enrich, what I'm talking about, enrichment for the data. This is a lot of code. If you have to code that yourself, this is a lot of code, and this is something that we implemented and developed. It is part of sapio365 from the beginning, and this is something we did. So let me show you. So let me show you what we're talking about. So, up, share, moving this around, poof, out. All right, so I'm logged in. I'm in my sapio365. So I'm going to open. So this is what we call the main. I would say the main grid, the main
Hmm.
view, main module. You choose your name. So call it what you want. So users, group, team. So the entry points. It's the entry points. It's the starting point. You go from the user, from the group, from the SharePoint, or from some specific tenant-wide information. So this is what we call. And after that, so if I open my user here. So now I got all my user loaded. Okay. So all my user loaded here, and from here, this is where I can navigate. So that's the main idea of sapio365, and go select, make a selection, and I can navigate and go to this what we call this sub module, sub view. So it's
Okay.
definitely so we go from a starting point, a selection, we go and look at the group membership. So if, for example, I click on my group membership here,
Hmm.
by default,
Okay.
when you open sapio365, it's going to show you this dialog and say, well, okay, so it can be a kind of, what is that
Yeah.
dialog about? A lot of, I have to read a bit. So in fact, this dialog will show by default every time from the main groups or the main user is going to show you and ask you a question and say, do you want to bring some columns from some of this information you have here? Do you want to bring this information to the sub module you're going to open? So here we're talking about the group membership. And then this is where you can say, okay, yeah, sure. I'm curious about the sign-in status. I want to know if the person can effectively connect to my tenant and as a member. I want to see the effective license he got for one. Okay, that is the one. And I can see the date of creation, but I'm going to take the department because I'm a big company. And you see, as soon as I selected something here,
Uh,
it checks that, say, well, don't ask again. So by default, you won't ask and say, you will consider that, okay, you choose that, and I'm going to use that every time I'm going to open a sub module. You
so
can then
what's in
check
the
that.
white on the left? That's what's already on this. We'll call this my main view.
Yeah,
But what
so
I'm saying is, I like these things enough that every time I go deeper, I want those columns.
exactly. I want to see
Okay.
this information every time I go somewhere where we are listing a user in a way or another. I want to have this information about the user every time I go there. Exactly. Okay, so let's go. Continue. Now it's going to open the membership of these users.
And
And
it's
so
just the users that you've selected.
this shows the user I selected. So I'm looking, so now I got my user here. So the one I selected, so let me collapse that. Okay, I just collapse that. It uses a
How did you do that?
shift minus.
Shift minus. Okay.
Shift minus with a keyboard. It's a really, really quick way to do a quick all collapse.
Okay.
Knowing that you can do exactly the same from here and say collapse all. It's exactly
Okay.
the same thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here, I got my user, and now I can see that at the same time, I have the department right away of the user, I have the effective license he has, and I have the signing status. So right away from here, I don't have to go back and forth between my modules. I can see right away that effectively I have my information at hand right away. So this can be really, and if the interesting part is, as you can see, so if we if we move the way it is organized, this view, since the information has been repeated on each line, it's always available. So let's say if I say, okay, now I want to do a grouping by group type. So I'm going to, it says here, beware, it's going to lose your hierarchy. So hierarchy is the fact that we organize the data by the user we selected. When I do that, we remove that. So there is no more hierarchy, but we still have the name of the user, which is here. We still have all the details about this information. So here I could do, okay, I want to see group type by department and to see right away, oh, interesting. So I have by group type, or even we can go group display name here, and I do a grouping here, and I got, so if I collapse that, I can see my different groups, and here I can see when I have more than one, what are the department of the member of the group. Doing the same thing using some PowerShell code, it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really lot of work. Here, I just clicked. I didn't click much, and I get my information. So that's the logic of the enrichment. And this is true everywhere. So let me go back to my user. So everything we go from the users to the sub, I will have the information about my user. But this is where it gets really, really interesting. So I'm going to close that for now, and I'm going to now look at my groups. Okay. So now I'm looking at my groups. So I got my groups here. And what I want to know is, let's say I have a question. I want to see, okay, which teams has member who cannot connect anymore or who doesn't have a license. Okay. So how can I do that? So I have to go through all my groups, grab the member, and have the information about these guys. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go here. So this is a column that says, is a team. So we have this. So what I'm going to do on this column, so on a right click here, I'm going to say, okay, I want to filter out empty cells. So I get rid of everything that is empty.
Okay.
I'm just focusing on what has a value. So now I get all my teams right away. Okay, so this is done. So now I got all my teams. I can say, okay, now I want to see the member. Here, the same dialog popped up. But this time, we're talking about, okay, when you go to a sub-module, what information from the groups you want to see and bring with you. So here, for example, interesting, so the same, so what is white here is what is currently visible in my grid. What is with a red background is going to be every other information I have available, but it's not currently being shown, so I can see, so I can have the list of it. So what I'm going to take the created on date, and I'm going to take the fact to see if it's an archive time or not. So knowing that you see the small arrow here, it gives you the ability to organize, so in which order you want to see the column when you're going to put that. Here, same, don't ask again. So I check that. So this means, okay, this is my choice. I don't want to change that, and I want to use that every time. So don't ask me that every time. If you uncheck, every time you're going to open a submodule from groups, it's going to ask you, hey, what do you want to put in there? Okay. I will show you after how you can change it once you check back. Because the problem, don't ask again is always an issue. He doesn't ask anymore. So how can I change that?
Right.
So I'm going to open that here. And now it's going to load, so all my team's members. So we can see here it gave us some information. So where he has the steps, how much time he spent, and so how much time he still need to be able to load. So it takes about a second. And now we get that. So now we get this grid here, where by default, so you see, the if we could call that enrichment colon, enrichment colon, it's a difficult word for me. Enrichment colon. So the enrichment column here always have a small arrow. You see the small arrow in front of it.
Right,
So this means
right.
that this is data that has been brought in addition to the regular presentation of the data. So I got what I choose for the group. So I got my information about the archive team and the information about the created on. I have to say, this is a bit blurry, a lot of information, not really readable like that. Let's change the format of that. So I'm
Okay.
going to go on column format, column format, I say here, okay. And I'm going to click on cell format on this guy, and I'm going to say, I don't want to see the time. Oh, better. I'm going to say, I want to have a more 9 days, 9 months ago. So I'm going to
Yeah.
put that like that. So at least now, bang, I got a really quick
Nice.
version of, okay, so what is my age? What is the age globally of the teams I'm looking at? Is it a recent one, pretty old one? So I got my age right away. Something beware is on the format. You see there is a cell format and a group format.
Right.
We
What's the
detach.
difference?
It can be different. So when you do a grouping, so let's say if I do a grouping on that, so I want to see that by the date. So I'm going to change that. You see, oh, it brought me the hour, times, and everything again. So, okay, well, I changed it. So I should. So, and this is because when I asked to change the format, I changed the cell format. I didn't change the group format. But here, so this is interesting because then you can have the same information shown on details and by grouping. So you can set a format for the grouping and another format for the detail.
I
An
see.
interesting one could be you set a format on the day and you keep only the time for the detail because it's
Okay.
going to
That
be
could,
grouped
yeah.
by day. So then you have the
Right.
time. So you can choose, or you can something else you can do here. You have a small checkbox. Where's the king of the small checkbox on the corner? So sometimes you have to know there is a checkbox there.
Yeah.
So there is a small checkbox. If I do that and do that, and now I set that, this is going to apply on both sides. And this is true. If I change the cell format, it will offer me the ability to set at the same time the
I
group
see.
format and vice versa. So you don't forget changing that. So here I change it both. I'm going to ungroup that. So since something to notice, so there is a button here. I don't know if you noticed that here. There is a
Hmm.
notion of the hierarchy view and the flat view. So here I ungroup that and say, well, I don't have my categorization by group names I had before because of hierarchy logic, okay? Because as soon as we do some grouping and everything, we get out of the hierarchy presentation by default and we go to a flat. So we put everything flat, no more hierarchy logic. And just if I want to go back, just clicking on hierarchy view again, and now I get my category again.
I see.
You see the logic? So
Hmm.
it's really a question of how because sometimes we want to see stuff by hierarchy because this is what we choose initially.
Hmm.
The hierarchy is always you will never have hierarchy on what I call a main module, the users group, because there is no hierarchical information there.
I
But as
see.
soon as you go to a sub module, you always have a selection of something, and always you will have a hierarchy about your effective selection. So you see what you selected.
Hmm.
Everything is grouped by the element you selected initially. But at any time you can go and say, I want to
So
go
when
to the
you say
flat
by
one.
what you selected, does that matter? So it depends on which column essentially you've created or
So
selected.
it's really about if I'm going to do a back, so I won't lose that.
Uh-huh.
I selected groups. So when I went to the member of the group, by default, the hierarchy will be set by the group because this is my original selection.
That because that's
And I
your
will
that's the parent.
that's a parent, exactly. That's a parent. And so we organize that by parent, and after we show you the detail. If you look at OneDrive file, if you look at mail, it's going to show exactly do the same thing. It's going
Okay.
to put first the name of the mailbox of the user, and after that, in this hierarchy, in this group, it's this parent, you will see all the mails of these users. And if you go on OneDrive, you see. But at any time, you can say, I want to change that. I want to organize that the way I want because I need to do some analysis. So
Mhm.
as soon as you do a grouping, automatically the system will go and move to the flat view because grouping with the hierarchy doesn't work.
Right. Right.
Okay.
If I if I need to refer this in the future, I don't want to go back and do all this. Is there a way of keeping this for future reference so I don't have to do all the sorting and things you just did?
So this is where we go with the view.
Ah, okay.
So by that, because everything you do to reorganize the formatting, the grouping, the sorting and everything, as soon
Hmm.
as you say create a new view, it will keep that in the view. And so when you
Okay.
apply the view, it will use that view. You can even say, when you create a view, you can even say if this view is default. This means if you set this view as default, the next time you open this module, it will use the view you
Ah,
just created. So every time you
good,
get the same
good.
presentation. Okay. So if I'm back to my guys here, so here you see I got all the groups, all the teams. Sorry, I selected teams. So I got all my teams, and I got my arrow, no, my arrowed. Can I say that? Arrowed
Sure,
column
sure.
header.
The arrowed column. Yeah.
So my arrowed. So I got the date of creation. I got the archive. So interesting. Here we can see one team that has been archived. And I got the member, I got all the member. And for every member I'm looking at here, I got some header with the arrow the same. And this time, so this is the user. So the information we set when we're looking at the user and looking at the submodule of the user, here they say, hey, wait a minute, this is a user. I know this guy. You ask me to show, when you show a user, the information about his
Uh,
signing status, effective
that's why
license,
we're
and depart.
getting those columns from the preferences or the that we said the subtopics we wanted to know when we were looking at users.
Exactly. So it's really
Okay.
so it can be a bit surprising because you said that
Hmm.
on the user level, but after that,
Right.
in fact, it's going to use that everywhere else.
And,
So the
and so I
interesting
can
part is
assume the
now
reverse is true that if I do a subview on groups or teams, and then I happen to have a column reflecting teams on the users, I get those same preferences brought
exactly
over
the same.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So once you set that, when you set this information, say, I want every time I see a user or I see a group, I want to see this information also, whatever what. And so this will be true from now on because I changed that. So from now on, I will have that every time I open my modules. So I will have this major information. So here, this is interesting because here, if I look at that, then I can begin to answer some question about, okay, well, how my teams are organized. And so a good one. So I'm going to change something because by default we use a member display name. So this is nice because usually it's pretty user friendly,
Hmm.
but sometimes it can be an issue because you may have nothing forbid two users to have the same display name and not being the same effective user. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a new column to the grid here. So two ways to do that. Either I go here and select my column here, okay, and
Okay.
so then I can select from here, or I go there, I go to my what we call the column map. So it's a map,
Okay.
it's not Google map, it's column map. Okay, so we give you the
Hmm.
list of all the columns. So everything that is in red is not visible for now, so it's not selected, and everything is white is the one we see. So you can really choose whatever you want here, and what I'm going to use, I want to see the username, not here. This is the one we have currently, the member display name. I want to see the
Okay.
username. Okay, so I'm going to select the username, click here, and he added the column. So I'm going to
Okay.
collapse that for now. So now I got the username available in my grid. So what I'm going to do, okay, first I want to have a vision, okay, from a signing status on my users. Do I have any? So I'm going to collapse that. Do I have any situation? So it seems that I have 105 situations where some blocked user, people who cannot connect, are still member of a group. So this is something we may want to change. I want to see, okay, but then what kind of, what is the user in fact? So I'm going to group by username this time. And now I can see the list of all my users right away. So we can see that Isaiah here,
Uh-huh.
Isaiah was member of a lot of group, but he doesn't have access anymore to the environment. And we can even see, so this is interesting, this is this column here. If I I'm going to grab it. And I'm going to do that like that. So what I did, I added a vision by membership. So now, this is interesting. This gets really interesting.
Ah.
So blocked, and oh darn, I got owners that cannot access to my environment anymore.
Wow.
And they are
It's
the owner of the teams,
yeah, that's
but they
not
cannot
good.
access the environment anymore. So this is trouble to come. This
Yes.
is trouble to come.
Could
And here I have a
could I fix that while I'm here? Like
sure.
if I want to empower, I don't know what those two names were of the owners. If I want to re-empower one of those owners, can I do that from this screen?
So if you want to reassign, so to remove this blocked
Yeah,
situation, or you want
yeah,
to remove because there's two actions in fact. You remove it from the team, and you say, okay, you're not the owner
let's
anymore.
unblock them first. Let's unblock somebody.
To unblock them. To do that, there is a trick because here every action I can do is about the membership.
And that's because we started from the group parent.
And because we are looking at the group members, and group members
Okay,
action are about the group members. But then if I need
okay.
to do some change on these specific users, how can I do that? And this is where you have this part here, the group details and user details. So I'm going to click on user details, okay? So what it's going to do is going to open the grid of the users with the user I just selected.
Ah, okay, okay.
So now the advantage, so if I go back,
And so now I
you know,
get all my user buttons.
and now
I
I got
see.
all my exactly now I got all
Yeah,
my user buttons. So I could, I can go here and say,
okay.
oops, this is not blocked, is allowed now. And I'm going to apply that.
So really, all the modules are interconnected in the whole. It just depends on what my main focus is as to
Yeah,
where I should be.
yeah.
Okay.
We try.
So,
We
so,
try.
so I've
We
got
try.
some guest members who are blocked. Can I get rid of all the guest members from this screen, or is it going to take me back to the a user
So
view?
if we want to remove, so what it depends on what you want. If you want to remove the guest member from the group, you definitely can work from here because the only thing you have to do is to remove from.
Okay. But if I
Okay.
want to remove
You
them
see here,
entirely, that's going to take me.
it just put a trash can here. So
And
this has been
what does
set
that
to be
mean?
removed.
What
This
does the
means
trash
that
can mean?
the trash can means that this has been set to be removed from the group. This member has been set to be removed from the group,
Okay.
and the modification will be applied as soon as, so it will be done, effectively done, as soon as I will click on save all.
Okay. So I could change my mind if this was a mistake.
I can, yeah, if I say, whoops, I shouldn't, I didn't get the, so I'm going to do undo, select row, and you see
Okay.
my trash can just went out, so this won't be saved anymore.
Okay.
And the save, by the way, has been disabled because there is nothing to save anymore
Okay.
in the system. Okay, so that so this is this is where it gets very interesting because this is where you can definitely have some very interesting answer from that and say, okay, yeah, okay, now I get some owners here that are not allowed to connect anymore. So this is people I want to remove. Or what I can do, I can demote, so we give you the
Yeah.
ability to demote. So you say, okay, no, this is not an owner anymore. This is just a member. So if he came back, so if, let's say he's disabled on the action because, I don't know, he left for something, but he's going to come back in a year, at least he will still be a member of the team. So he will still have access to it, but he won't be the owner anymore. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
So while it looks like they're all interconnected, but the best bet is to start with the area you're most interested in,
yeah,
and then work from there.
yeah.
But I could still get the benefit of all the modules if I need to by manipulating what I see.
Exactly. You can go around on the system and you can navigate. That's all it is. You can navigate.
I can navigate.
And
That's a good word. Yeah.
another way to look at, so another question that may be asked on the same kind of logic about this new group membership and say, okay, but here we focus about the notion of being blocked. Okay, so that's one. But another interesting one is going to be the situation about, okay, the license, okay, does it? But in my demo environment, as you can see, we have
Yeah.
user who in fact doesn't have a Microsoft Flow free license, won't give you the ability to connect to Teams. Yeah, for sure. So
Okay.
I want to see that from a point of view of a license. Okay, no, does my member still have a license or a proper license? So what I can do, I'm going to group by that.
All right.
Okay, so I get the same, I'm going to collapse. Now I get the vision by license. Okay, So this is interesting because now I got a situation of multiple. So the only trick to understand here is that you see here it says Office 365 V5 3 of 3. Because in fact, this user, so Adele, she has more than one license assigned to her. She got a Office 365 and something else, okay?
Okay.
So to be able to, and so if I want to see, you see, if I just click here, over, so the pop-up, give me the information about Adele. So it says Adele, in fact, have 3 licenses.
I
The
see.
Microsoft 365 E5 compliance, Enterprise Mobility and Security E5, and the Office 365 E5. But here, since we grouped by license, the system exploded the information. So it duplicated the rows, so you can see the information by license this time. Okay. So it's interesting to see the 3. So this explains why the 3 of 3. It says this is the third one of a set of 3 value.
So if I ever see numbers like that, I know if I hover, I can
If
get
you see that,
information.
with the over, you will have the data.
Okay.
Okay. So now I got my situation by license. So this is interesting because then here I get situations where people who doesn't have a license at all, because onset has been, I don't have anything, there's nothing here. Okay, guest doesn't have license. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I don't care. Okay, but then I got here these 2 accounts here. They are part of, I can see 2 groups, but I can even, if I want to do a grouping by group, to see by rather group rather by user. So this is where you can see, this is where it becomes really funny, because this is where you can choose how you want to see, because how you want to have your answer. But here, I already right away, I can see that I have 2 accounts that are member of 2 groups, and they don't have any license. So why are they member of the groups?
Right.
It's a team,
right.
so you need a license to be able to connect. And they're the owner.
Now, because
they're
I'm
the
on
owner of the
groups,
teams.
but because I'm on groups as my main topic, I'll be able to affect their group membership using the buttons at the top because our topic is groups.
Exactly. I'm currently looking at the group members, as it says here. And so this is what I'm looking at. And from here, all the action provided in the manage is really about membership.
Okay. That makes sense.
So here I could say, okay, demote that. Yeah, why is he a member? He shouldn't be a member. He doesn't have any license anymore. So, okay, demote that. Okay, so now they want to, so there is a pen, so nothing has been applied yet, but at least already the data changed automatically. You see the grouping change.
It did.
So,
right.
so it moved to member. So now another interesting question. So now, I was able to, I can remove them right away, or I can just demote them because I don't want them to be a member, to be a owner. But here, as a member, I could go here and say, okay, I want to remove all these guys. So remove all that. So then doing that, since I removed a owner, then the question is, but then is my team still have the owner? Because the rule of thumb, is you should always have one owner on a team. So, and may I have teams without any owners?
I would
So
say
this is,
you could.
it's possible that there was only owners of the team
Yeah.
that changed. So now I need to see the situation from that.
So even though you haven't saved your changes, all subsequent views will act as if you have.
The one I'm looking at.
Just the one you're looking at.
So I have to still work where I am because I haven't
Okay.
applied anything yet. So I have to work from here. So from that, so I'm going to ungroup everything, ungroup everything here. Okay, username, I don't care about that anymore. So what I'm going to focus on the ownership here. Okay. So I'm going to say, okay, bear with me, this one is an interesting one. So I'm going to filter that, so I only focus on owners, okay?
Owners, okay.
So for that, I'm going to filter here on the value. So 2 ways, either I go in filters, click values here, and I can choose what I want to see, or I do exactly the same thing, right click here, value filter, and then I'm going to, okay, I don't care about guests, I don't care about members, and empty shouldn't exist, so I don't care about that, but I'm going to keep it in case of. But owner and members, this is the only thing I care about. Okay, so now I only see owners and members. Okay.
Okay.
So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to group by display name. So that's one way. Or another way to do that, if I remove that, is better if I go with hierarchy. So I'm back on the hierarchy situation. Okay, so I'm back with my original hierarchy selection. And interesting. So this is nice. You know, I'm cool because I can see. So here it gives you some columns. It can be a kind of, okay, what are we talking about that? So we try to explain what is the current situation, okay? So don't forget, I got a filter on my, so here you see the small filter icon. I got the filter on
Okay.
the membership, okay? So I'm only looking at members.
Okay.
And here I went back to the hierarchy mode. So I went to see my groups organized in a hierarchy with by parents, as you were saying, parents, my groups, my teams, sorry. And here we give you an information. Say, okay, but here it gives you, because since we have hidden values, you say, well, in my hierarchy here, so I get 7 entries that has been hidden because of the filter.
Okay.
But I still have 3 entries that are visible. In fact, this visible here give me the number of owner I have currently in my team.
Okay.
If I click on that, that's a column. I can sort that. I just sorted, so let's do that the other way. I just sorted by number of owner my teams.
Okay.
Okay, so I can see that globally, I'm lucky. I remove some owners, but there is still 1 owner per teams. Let's do just for the fun of it. Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to can I demote? No, I can. I can only remove this guy. Remove from. Okay. 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 No, it's still here. I was expecting that it goes up away, but since it hasn't been applied, it's still owner but to be deleted. What I can do, I can go here and say, okay, in the value filter on this guy, I don't care about what has been deleted because he won't be there. Just did that. Okay, computing. And now you see my teams that I said, okay, I want to remove my guys. So I want to remove my owners. Now here it says 0. So here I can see right away a teams that doesn't have any owner anymore. How I did that? And this all that before I effectively apply my change, and before the oops moment, I should have done that.
Yeah.
So now I have a vision of, okay, I said, okay, I didn't want to see what I said to be deleted because they won't be there. So I miss that. Hide me everything that is not an owner because I don't want to see that. So I just want to focus on the owner. So only, so two filter here, the status and the membership. Vision by hierarchy. And now you see the icon is a bit different. Here I get a plus and here I don't have a plus. Why? Because there is no more member, no more children row to show here. Everything has been hidden. And so here right away, I can see which teams doesn't have an owner. The filter is always applied to the member of a hierarchy, children of the hierarchy. Okay. Because if we apply the filter to the parent of the hierarchy, then this is where trouble happens. Because as you can see, for example, here, my parents here, they don't have any membership type. They don't have, because it's a parent, it's a group, so it doesn't have a membership type, it doesn't have a sign-in status. So if we were applying the filter on every row, whatever the one, then everything will be hidden because the parent will be hidden, and so all the children will be, because if you hide a parent, each hide the children, and so everything is out. So this is why here I cannot, if I do a filter, when I try to say, okay, I want to filter out on the 0, it says, "Hey," the dialogue was a robot say, "You won't, it won't do anything here because it won't apply to the parent. It will apply to the children, and so this doesn't work because you can see that the children here is always empty."
Cool.
Okay.
All right. I think that's about all we have time for today.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, for showing me I guess we call it the interconnectivity between the modules. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Can I ask a quick one before we close so we don't forget?
Sure,
So I said that I would
sure.
talk to you after how to change. Once you said I don't want to, remember the checkbox said don't show that anymore. There was a selection of the
Oh,
columns you had. Yeah.
so how do we undo that?
So to undo
Yes.
that, if you go here, or you have the mapping here, you will have this menu, this submenu here, which is select group columns to show in a subview.
I know.
And
So,
here you get the dialog again. And this is where you can say, okay, ask me every time next time because I want to know. Or keep it as
ah,
it is. But you can always go back. If you don't want that anymore, you say, okay, that's, yeah, that's it. They're out. I do okay, I won't see that anymore. So groups won't have that information anymore. So yeah, you choose how you want to organize your stuff.
ah,
That's it. I
great,
stop. I stop here.
great. Thank you.